All right, let's get into it. We're going to build the perfect daily routine for students. And I'm not talking about one of those insane 18-hour study schedules that just leads to complete burnout. No, we're talking about a balanced, effective routine that you can actually stick with in the real world. I mean, come on, how many times have you said this to yourself? Tomorrow's the day. You set your alarm for 5 a.m., you imagine this super productive person you're going to be, and then tomorrow comes. You hit snooze, you scroll through your phone for a bit, and poof, the whole day just kind of slips away. If that sounds like you, trust me, you are not alone. So, before we can even start building the right routine, we got to figure out why the old ones just never seem to stick. And here's the thing, the problem usually isn't about your motivation. It's a flaw in the design of the routine itself. Now, I want you to think about it this way. Your daily routine, it's basically the operating system for your brain. You know, like on your phone? Without a good OS, things get slow, buggy, and eventually they just crash. Students don't fail because they're not smart. They fail because they just don't know how to manage their time. It's that simple. And this right here is the core idea. See, motivation is a feeling. It comes and it goes. But discipline, that's a system. A really well-designed day doesn't depend on how you feel. It relies on a structure that just carries you through, even on the days you're really not feeling it. Okay, let's start building this thing. And we're going to start with the most important part of your day, the morning. This is where you set the tone for literally everything that's about to follow. Look, the goal here is not to torture yourself. Waking up in this sweet spot works because the world's still quiet, right? There are no notifications popping up, no noise, way fewer distractions. It's just you and your thoughts, and that gives you a massive head start. And what you do in those first 5 minutes, it's absolutely crucial. Just look at this. Grabbing your phone is literally like inviting 50 strangers to just dump all their random thoughts into your head before you've even woken up. But if you just open a window, let some light in, and take a few deep breaths, you're telling your brain to wake up calmly, naturally. You start the day in control, not reacting to everyone else. I love this analogy so much. Just 5 minutes of light movement, a little stretching, a few push-ups, even just walking around your room. It's like turning on your brain's Wi-Fi. It gets your blood flowing, it sends more oxygen up there, and that means you'll actually be able to connect with and remember the things you study. And this illustrates the golden rule of morning study perfectly. Your brain is at its absolute sharpest right after you wake up. So please don't waste that peak energy on easy stuff or scrolling through social media. Use it on the subject that gives you the most trouble. Seriously, 1 focused hour in the morning is worth 3 tired hours at night. So how do you make that hour count? Use the Pomodoro method. It is so simple and so powerful. You do 50 minutes of pure heads-down focus on one single thing, no multitasking. Then you take a 10-minute break. And this is the key. You do not touch your phone. Stand up, stretch, look out the window, give your brain an actual rest, not just more stuff to process. Okay, so you've had a great morning. How do you keep that momentum going into the afternoon? This is usually where people hit a wall, right? But with the right strategy, you can turn that afternoon slump into a really productive practice session. Now, this is so interesting. You have to ask yourself, are you an active or a passive learner? Passive learning is when you're just kind of letting information wash over you, like throwing seeds on dry ground. But active learning, when you take notes in your own words, when you ask questions, that's like planting those seeds with care. That's how knowledge actually grows. After your morning classes, your brain needs a total reset. A big, heavy lunch is just going to make you crash. All your energy goes to your stomach. So instead, follow this recipe. A light lunch, a short 20-minute power nap, or a quick walk. It's the perfect way to hit the reset button and get ready for the afternoon. This all comes down to working with your brain's natural rhythm, not fighting against it. Let's be real. Your brain is a little bit slower in the afternoon. So this is not the time for heavy, dense theory. It's the perfect time for hands-on, practice-based work. Anything that involves doing something instead of just passive reading. All right, we are on the home stretch now, the final block of the day. The evening and the night are not about cramming more work in. They're about winding down, reviewing what you learned, and setting yourself up for an awesome day tomorrow. After a long day of just sitting and studying, your body is begging to move. And we're not talking about some intense 2 hour gym session. Nope, just 20 to 30 minutes of simple activity, a brisk walk, shooting some hoops, even just dancing in your room. It can completely reset your mood, slash your stress, and actually improve your focus. Your evening study sessions should feel light, not like a chore. This is your time for consolidation. Just look over your notes from the day, maybe try a few easier practice problems, and this is super important, spend just a few minutes planning your specific tasks for tomorrow. This tells your brain, okay, the day is complete. Now, this might be the single hardest habit to build, but it's one of the most important. The blue light from our phones and laptops literally tricks our brains into thinking it's still daytime. So by turning them all off 30 minutes before bed and replacing them with something calm, you're allowing your brain to wind down naturally so you can get quality sleep. This quote just captures the idea perfectly. You should never, ever sacrifice sleep for study. All that hard work you do during the day gets loaded into your short-term memory. But sleep is when you actually hit the save button. Cutting sleep is basically like throwing away all the progress you just made. So, what is the magic number? Well, you should really be aiming for a solid 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every single night. That's what your brain needs to properly process information, lock in those memories, and actually recharge for the next day. Okay, so we've designed the perfect day. We've got the morning, afternoon, and night all planned out. But the routine itself is pretty useless without the right mindset to actually power it. This is the secret weapon that makes it all click. We need to be so clear about this. Stop comparing how many hours you study to what other people claim they're doing. The student bragging about studying 14 hours a day is probably on a one-way trip to burnout. What truly matters is the quality and consistency of your focus. 4 deep, productive hours every day will always beat 12 distracted, tired hours. And finally, please be kind to yourself. You are going to have days where you completely fail to stick to the plan. Everybody does. The key isn't to be perfect, it's to be resilient. The goal is not to never mess up, it's to simply restart the next day instead of giving up entirely. So just remember this, an effective life isn't something you just stumble upon by accident. It's something you build, intentionally, piece by piece, day by day. We've just laid out the blueprint, so the only real question left is, what are you going to design tomorrow?